Hey, all right, we made it. We made it to the other side. Good morning, guys. Welcome to the Swarm Report. Apologies for the late start. It's a Monday. It happens. But here with you with another awesome guest, like heading into another hot week in the virtuals ecosystem. People are starting to call this now season 2 of virtuals. And I feel that we're kicking off season 2 with, it's what I have circled as, for me, the biggest drop of the week. The one that, for me, again, maybe has the most potential. And so I was looking forward to talking to the team here today about the project. It's called Asynchronus. And then some developments last night, I think maybe unexpected, but we'll get into it. A little FUD out there from a team who did a little deep dive. I might say didn't do a deep enough dive into the Asynchronus project. And we got Zash here to talk about it on the Asynchronous team, but to address the concerns that are out there, I was going to say, like, call it maybe, unfair FUD. I don't know if that's the case. It's fair to go and analyze a project and do that deep dive. In fact, it's really important that we do that. But I also think it's important that we have that chance to answer questions that the team does and address that, especially so close to the project launching, the TGE happening, is opening on virtuals. Like, really important to let that happen. And so I'm happy we get to do that right here today. By the way, we're live on Abstract, and we're live on X, and we're actually live on Kick too today, and on YouTube. Wherever you're watching, hit the like, but come over to the YouTube side and subscribe over here. We do this show daily. It's called the Swarm Report, touching on what's happening in the virtuals ecosystem, broader AI, but talking to the guys building in AI, which just matters so much. So you get to hear from them about what they're building. So important. Subscribe over here so you catch these shows. With that said, I want to welcome Zash here to the show. What's your role on the team? Are you a founder?
I'm the founder, man. So we are like 2 people team. I have 1 co-founder, and that's all. I mean, we are just ensuring that everything we are building everything in relation with the AI. So all the stuff that is related to marketing and other stuff, we take care of all those things through AI. So even if you look into our videos, our informations that we share, everything goes with the system itself. So it does not require like a too much big of a team at this moment to like build a product itself. So that's how we do.
Well, it's funny, dude, because like when we start addressing some of the points from Nick's video, again, it's I'm glad he does the digging he does. But as we start hearing some of the points, and I look through them, I'm like, a lot of this feels like it's just like small cosmetic things that are, it's what happens when you do have a small team. And I assumed, I was going to assume, when we talked that there's probably just 2 people, maybe even just 1 person. Well, I knew it was a second person because, on the team page on virtuals, but I assumed it was a tiny team and it was just the 2. And man, if there's a spelling error, there's going to be spelling errors when it's just 2 people wearing all the hats in a company, right? So it makes perfect sense. Let me get on the screen Zash for you guys so you can follow him. It's especially right now important to follow him and keep updated with their project and what they're building. As I'm showing the socials on the screen, if you could, again, like get a little deeper into the team, what's your background and your co-founder's background? What brought you to this space, and what have you done before that translates here?
Yep. So I would like to say, so I am a beta graduate, and then post that I joined Amazon initially. So I was there for like past 7 years. I started with the team called Amazon Go, if you have heard about it. These are like stores which are cashierless.
Those are so cool. I used to work in downtown Chicago, and I saw one pop up when they were very early. I'm like, dude, you walk in and walk right out with you don't have to go check out. You don't have to talk to a person. It's crazy stuff.
Exactly. So I would say I joined Amazon at that time, like in 2017. That time we didn't have any stores. And I was part of the team till we had like 3,000 stores, and we were like giving that infrastructure to other teams as well. If you have seen, like now even Starbucks utilizes the infrastructure, and even Hudson stores have those infrastructure, right? So I joined when there is no stores at the moment. And then like we scaled the internal teams also. Like when I was there, like there was only 50 members team, and then we scaled it over to like 3,000 members that are working in like 4 geo locations. I was like one of the part of scaling operations. And then we built the whole vision models for these stores to like track that how things are going on, and then ensure that customer receipts are being correctly given to them. So that's the overall thing that I was doing. Post that, like I joined crypto last year. I was like majorly looking into like what things has to be done, how like a decentralized ecosystem can be created for AI agents, giving like some of the background about my co-founder also. So this guy was like pure robotics. He was like mechanical engineer doing like coding and other stuff as well. He did an exit already. He was building robotics company. He sold it out initially. He built it at 19 years of age, exited at like 21. Post that he went to like Kerala Blockchain Academy. He learned from there. He get into crypto. He was working in DeFi and router protocol. He was one of the product lead over there. And then like last year when we met, I mean we were talking like for the past 2 years through like common friends, and then last year we started working on the AI agent stuff.
Dude, very, very cool. And so let's take that right into asynchronous and what it is, because this is one of the questions Nick had. I had it too. A lot of people do. Even after that, got honestly awesome white paper. There's a ton of info there. I'm not that technical enough, but right, not that technical. So I'm reading it, and honestly, it mostly makes sense. But having you explain it probably is going to help people connect the dots and piece together what asynchronous is. So if you want to do that, maybe even start with like a like a one or two line about what it is and the product, and then we can get deeper from there.
Yeah. So at a basic level, I would say like we are not building like one agent or stuff. We are building like an infrastructure completely for AI agents. It breaks down into like three different parts. How we have developed it. The first part is like a graph, which is like a LangChain based TypeScript framework that any developer can utilize, and they can build an AI agent on top of it. Some of the improvements that it already have in terms of the frameworks that are already available is that you don't have to like specify personas, you don't have to like mention how things has to work. It does all the web searches, and it dig all those things for you, so you don't have to like specify each and everything, or like even related to the like decentralization aspect. One of the thing is like in the current state, lot of even the ELISA framework, you have to give your private keys and over there in the code itself. But in this framework, it works decentralized way. So you have access to wallets, but like you have permissions also. So you have to give all the permissions through like on-chain wallets, and basis on those permissions only, like the graph framework works accordingly. So that's how we have developed it. And the second part is like shell is basically a conversational interface where users can like chat with all the agents that we have developed. The major aspect about the shell is that there is a orchestration layer where like all these agents can conversate between each other. So there is like I think I have given you the technical architecture also. So how it happens is like when a user prompt, it goes into like one of our task and planner agent, which is like developed on top of OLAMA. We have given like specific instructions onto it.
Is that these guys
From
right here? These are those agents.
So these are like one of the initial agents that we have already developed. There are some more agents that we are developing, which is like like sniping agent, which can like snipe tokens on pump.fun or on virtuals as well. So these are like specific to use cases. So all these agents will work accordingly, and there are multi LLMs as well at the backend. So every LLM will be called according to like the specific operation that user requires. So like if it requires like a social sentiment, probably it goes to Grok. Similarly, like if there is research that is required or coding is required, it goes to Anthropic or OpenAI. So that's how the system works. And then there are more cool stuff that we will be covering in the next few days, like initial launch, then post that there are a lot of developments that we have already planned in picture, and it will come into over there. The third thing is like the white paper that we have proposed. We have been researching on this white paper. So the major part that we wanted to highlight with that white paper is that how AI agents can be economically efficient, and then how these agents will be incentivized slashed plus these agents will be like bring on chain. So our specific vision is like how agents has to be on chain itself, and that has to be the backbone of our AI agents in future.
Can I ask you a question here or make a comment? Because I love this part. This is the part that stood out to me the most, that I thought was like maybe the most important. And you guys watching, like when guests come on, I always ask this question. And this was a big conversation on crypto Twitter, a couple months back. It's do agents need a token? And even AI projects, do they need a token, right? And, everybody's got their own opinion on that. My take was always, I don't know if they need it, but I think they're better with it. Just for them being on chain. And then I read your white paper and I see how that really ties in. So you're like, I think one of the best people that we had to speak on that. So I just had to say that, and you keep going because this is cool.
Exactly. Because so one of the thing is like everything is right now off chain. So even if agents that are there who are doing like certain operations, they are off chain. They are not tied back to like on chain stuff. They might be like handling your wallets, they might be handling your funds, but they are not tied back to on chain. So the overall framework is like talk about like verifiability and then sharing proofs. Plus there is like a agent to agent competition where like one agent can probably challenge another agent's proofs and state that okay, this is not the best use case of it, or this is not the right operations, this might be the right one. And there are splashing mechanisms how agents will be slashed out. Plus there has to be like there are situations where like agent can be bribed to do like certain operations as well. So the overall white paper talk about all these things, and we did a small POC on like Ethereum testnet, Sequoia testnet, and we have shared like some of the figures over there where like these agents who have been built on top of proof of effective intelligence has been better than any off-chain agent that has been doing all those stuff. It's a very small POC. We did like 100 iterations of it, but like the next course of action is like how we will be working deeper into this state, and we will be building this protocol to like support all the agents. This will be like we are also like working with the virtuals to ensure that how ACP can be integrated into this, and how all the things and operations can work in parallel to each other.
So, okay. Couple of questions here. So you're talking about the performance of these agents. I mean, like benchmarks or some type of scoring higher than agents that don't have a wallet, are not, there's no crypto in their process. Why? Why do you think that is? Is that just because they have an incentive? Like, do the agents know their goal is to try to, provide quality because it's growing their bags in a way?
Yep, exactly. Because see, at the moment, like there, every agent that we already have, like there is no transparency state of what's the revenue being generated out of these agents, what is the cost that these agents are bearing. Because frankly, ask me, like it is like too much high amount of cost. Like even if you go like buy a P100, it's like $1.36 per hour, and people are basically burning compute out of it. So you have to be like economically enabled to ensure that these agents are generating the right set of revenue. So, and with this incentivization structure, the major thing is like the agents who are probably not performing right or who are not able to meet their revenue streams, they can also meet their revenue streams through like either going with like providing proofs that these things are not validated and these things are better off than this. Plus, addition to that, like with the bribing mechanism, they can get more revenue out of it. So that's where like the even transparency will be there that okay, now these agents are like basically making this much amount of revenue, and what are the agents that has to sustain into the ecosystem rather than burning a lot of amount of value into the system. Because like it's again like there is a lot of compute that is already going, it might be utilized into somewhere else as well.
Okay. So again, it's a much more complicated ecosystem than most of what you're seeing on virtuals. I'm trying to think if we've seen anything like this on virtuals. We're used to seeing kind of like one-off agents. I'm trying to think of some other like, broader scope kind of, platforms that have launched there. But this is one of the biggest, just in terms of scope. So if you were to compare Asynchronous to any other project in AI right now, one that people are familiar with, what would it be? Like, is it closer to something like Arc or like OpenServe, or like, what's the comparison? And then I'm like curious what then sets it apart.
I mean, I would not compare it with anything else because like there are a lot of stuff that we are doing over here. probably with like even developer incentivizations, even like going with like users where like shell can be utilized, and then working on the infrastructure layer as well. I mean, there are a lot of things that we will be expanding in future. One of the major thing, like I think it's a valid question from a lot of people, is like why going with virtuals and why not like go with VC route or like raise funds from like some other mechanisms, right? So I mean, it doesn't align with the economic incentives as well. I mean, I was like just reading about Brian also. These guys were like struggling for the past 1 year. They were trying to raise funds from VC, but everything like stuck back to like when TG, what's the incentive, how much money we can make. And frankly speaking, I would not align with like just few holders having like a large chunk of assets rather than like having approximately 10,000 or 20,000 holders just holding like my token, and like having one state of mind that okay, this project can do something. I think this is something which why we all are in crypto, right? Because we all have that kind of shared mindset that okay, Bitcoin will do something big at some point of time. That is why every one of us joined. And I think I like that similar idea rather than like going with some VC route and then some giving somebody like 40-50% of allocation, and then user would be like having only $5-6 of amount in their pocket. I mean, I don't see a use case over there.
Yep. No, I like that. Agreed. All right, I have more questions about the technical side and then how the token works in, but I want to get to the spicy stuff. I want to get to the Nick stuff, the Nick whatever deep dive session he did last night, and again, just address them point by point. Again, some of them are good. Actually, one of those points you brought up, I've been streaming. I've been talking about you guys like almost every day on the stream. I think it's a really, really awesome looking project. And there's, I don't want to call it a red flag, but there's something that stood out to me, and it's to me, it's on the funnier side. It's a like minor thing, but I'll bring it up just because he mentioned it too. So let's start going through these. By the way, guys, anybody watching that has questions, drop them in the chat. Zash will answer anything. He said beforehand he'll answer whatever. And just it's cool seeing somebody who is building. Like I put out a tweet earlier. There's guys who are behind the scenes building, and maybe don't get the time in front of the community to share what they're building and like speak their language because you're spending your time building. Like I get that. I lived that with the CryptoSlam boys. So again, I get where some misunderstandings kind of came from with Nick and crew. That's why this is such a really good opportunity, though, still to address that stuff, man. All right, let's get into the Nick post. Hang on, let me see here. The FET AI Ocean. Okay. Okay. So comparing it to FET, something in that realm. Okay. Okay. Some of this I know off the top of my head as far as what the points were. So we'll jump to the first, which is, it's silly, but I think it's fun. Right on the website on Asynchronus, why does it think I'm mobile? Is that the size of the screen? Hang on. Let me get the screen right here. I think that's just because of how I formatted my screen. There we go. Yeah. There we go. What's up with the robot? So again, I was browsing this, was doing my deep dive with my buddies, and I'm like, that robot's so damn familiar. I think I've seen him on like a few other projects too, and I'm just assuming it's just a stock asset that people can use. And I might be wrong about that. What's the robot story?
Yeah. I mean, robot is like a spline asset which we also utilize. I think you have seen it because like there are other projects that have already raised or like they have went through a token. I think Zoe was using this same spline asset. We have been using it like for since January. It was already there, and but yeah, it's a spline asset, man. Anyone can utilize that.
It's like literally a non-issue. It shouldn't be a flag. It's just, again, like you're saying, it's just a very common asset people can use here. So.
We haven't been utilizing the robot just for the use case. I mean, our narrative is more inclined on the robot side, so that's why the robot is always there. If you look into our videos and everything, like every narrative comes with the robot itself, right? So that's why it is over there. It's not like I have just utilized some kind of assets and my storyline is not going with that. So it goes with the narrative itself.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, fair enough and makes sense. Okay. Point 2 coming from the deep dive. Typos in the description. Again, so minor. And this to me is just back to there's 2 people on the team, both probably scrambling round the clock. Asynchronous, not spelled the same way here as opposed to up there? I'm assuming the top one is the correct spelling.
If you look at asynchronous, where we have mentioned our protocol, it's asynchronous with a less of 0, and it's because like a backstory, we wanted to like share it like async and chronus operations, so that's why we named it as asynchronous. And then there are like unavailability of domains also that was there. But when you talk about like asynchronous at the bottom side, it is basically reflecting about asynchronous operations rather than like talking about our product. So that's why we have written asynchronous right spelling over there rather than the above side. So that's why
Oh,
it differs also.
so it's not
And
it's not even a typo. It's like
it's not typo. It's deliberately written over there. It's not. I mean, it's not like I have written something or
right.
given it to ChatGPT, which has like changed something else.
See that literally that's why these conversations need to happen. That word is being used properly here. It different from the name, right? Like again,
Exactly.
it was such a minor point to begin with, but to use that as something to against the project, then that that's where, again, not a mistake, but you got to keep going. You still got to have more conversations. Okay, further in the video we go, and I believe there was a point about is it Jayesh? Is that your other co-founder?
Yep. So my actual name is like Jayesh. So
Oh, that's you.
Zayak, like one of the pseudo name that we have, and I think everyone have the pseudo name in crypto, right?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Okay, there was a comment about one of your GitHub profiles not linking, like coming up with like 404. I don't think there's actually a page there, which again, I think.
I mean, yeah. I think that's my mistake. Like I'll change that. But I think even you can look into Victor's repository. That's a shared repository that we have already shared. So anyone can look into it.
Okay, all right. That's cool. Another comment on GitHub, and let me see if I actually know where to pull this up. You know what? The GitHub is linked in your project. Okay, and this is a question. This is one I'm not. Again, I'm not a dev. I'm not techie. I don't know how people typically, I guess, upload their code to GitHub, their repository. But if I'm looking in the right place, let me see. Let me see if I can figure this out. Where would I see essentially like everything you've uploaded?
Yeah. So I tell you. So as of now, like in our roadmap, we have already mentioned that as of now, the graph framework is already available. But soon we'll be like sharing shell and other operations, their repository, like open source for other developers to also utilize it. But as of now, like those things are like private, in private repo.
Okay. Moonship's curious, is there a product out now? And then we'll get to future, because I'm going to ask once we get through the FUD stuff, like what vision, plans, what does this look like in a couple of years? How do we grow? We'll get to that stuff, Moonship. A good question. Yeah, is there right now like a product that's live?
So Graph is already open, so anyone can, like even the developers can go and utilize Graph. Async shell is like gated as of now. The major thing is like we don't want that product to open before like 5th June. That is our date, and that also like ties up to the aspect of the token utility as well. So we can talk about that later as well. Like what's the token utility?
Cool. Okay, yeah, looking forward to that. Okay, so then here was one of the points from the Nick side, which was GitHub. It looks like everything in this repository uploaded 4 months ago, and just according to them, that felt for them unusual. That typically when you're building out your repository, you maybe you got an update here, and then a couple days later, a couple months later, there's more, and then there's an update, and then there's like it's just a thing that you should see many dates there. I have no clue. I've never used GitHub. What do you say to that?
I mean, a very basic way to like look into it. If you go back and look into Victor's, like how much codes he have pushed, you can see that how much codes he's basically pushing. So anyone can like look into that and see a visibility that the team is working on these things or not. I mean, that's up that if anybody is a techie, like they can easily understand from that point.
Gotcha. That's on his own page, like his
You
own.
no, can you like reopen the GitHub?
Yeah. Here we go. Okay.
Okay, if you go back to asynchronous, actually go back to Victor's repo, not the asynchronous repo.
Okay, one sec.
So you can directly open it from virtual space.
Is
Yeah,
that
yeah. So,
this here?
Yeah, so if you look at like he has been pushing codes like in May and April as well. The green color that you are seeing over there, all the commits are already happening. So it's
Okay.
not like we are basically doing something and not committing. It's not like we have stopped the operations like 4 months before, or somebody from our team has already left, that we lose the vision. I mean, we have been constantly working on all these things.
Got it. Okay. That sounds good to me. All right. We to a degree addressed like kind of just confusion around the project and what it is. And I think we've touched on that enough. But I will say too, again, this gets into partnerships, right? And who's backing you. And there's some really big names. And I know this again, guy, like, we're somebody in the CryptoSlam side have been building for 8 years now. And I know what building looks like. It often means stuff is happening behind the scenes. It often means there's things you can't put out there, you can't talk about, you can't, announce any more than, the initial announcement, because some of these things, are a little more planned and whatever. It looks a little different than people maybe expect. So if people are expecting to see, well, let's get into this then, but partnerships with NVIDIA, with the NVIDIA Inception program and Google startups and all that. And like one of their issues was, well, they saw your tweet about it. We all saw the tweets, awesome, those announcements, but not finding it elsewhere, like on an official list, not seeing it mentioned anywhere beyond that. Again, I don't know if we should expect to see it anywhere else, but I guess comments about that. How do those partnerships come up, and what do they mean? Is there somewhere anybody else can like cross-reference and see that those are there? Like, I don't even question that they happen, but if some people are, how do they look further?
I mean, answering this, I would like first to clarify like what backed by means. If you talk to me, so like backed by are like two three things. If you even go with VCs, like major projects write down in their bios that we are backed by XYZ VC venture capital or something like that, right? What you get from those venture capital is like either you are getting economical help from them, either you are getting like some kind of resources for them, or the third thing is like either you are getting advising from them, right? And I think this is something which we are all getting from like Nvidia, Google, and then Arbitrum as well. So if again I'm talking about the same thing, like so if you go with a P100 or like a H100, that costs you like 1.5 or like $3 per hour, and that is like given free for us from Nvidia. We have like somewhat, I couldn't say the right numbers, but like more than 100K of credits that we have received from Nvidia, where they are supporting us with even the cloud credits plus the credits for these compute systems as well. So we are getting like the economic help from them. The second thing is like we are also getting advising from them every time like Nvidia reach out to us. We have like calls with them, we talk with them that what's next with our project, how we are building the system and other stuff. Addition to that, like talking about the resources, there are enough amount of resources that Nvidia gives to us. Similar thing goes with Google. With Google we have like workspace accesses, we have like their compute accesses, we have GPU accesses as well, plus Gemini and other or any other new things that resources that Google is basically pushing. We have all the access from them. Similarly, when we go with Arbitrum, we have received the grant from them. We have been getting advices from them. So if I don't call myself backed by these guys, then what would I call? I mean, that's a fair point of saying that I am backed by these guys because I'm getting each and every resource from them, right? It's not like I'm like doing false claimings from someone, right? So that's the overall thing. I think people have to understand that, okay, like some projects can have potency to go with that things as well, right? It's not that every time somebody will come with these things will be faking or like talk giving some false claim about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's this misunderstanding of what that means and what it should look like. And it looks like what I'm used to seeing behind the scenes when somebody has that partner, the backing or whatever. And it's not something they're necessarily going to put out there. They don't, but they have these programs and they bring in sometimes lots of projects to help incubate and support them. And sometimes it's pretty selective. But this is exactly what it looks like. And and it's a great achievement to be backed by guys like these. The NVIDIA Inception program, first off, I didn't know until I think you had tweeted it maybe a day or two ago. Virtuals is in the Inception program too, I believe. Is that right?
Exactly, yeah. Virtuous is also in the Inception program.
And I'm not
and
sure.
and I think somebody said that okay, they just moved out of cryptocurrency post that. We got in NVIDIA Inception program in the month of April, initial times of April. So whatever news and informations came by is like post April 25th. So we were selected already by that time.
There you go. Yeah, I remember that too. Because there was a project I was chatting with, like FXN or something, and they were in the Inception program. And then I remember there was an announcement at some point. Like it was like from that point forward, NVIDIA Inception is not taking on crypto projects. I think you clarified that maybe even a little more though. But then maybe it can't be just like solely crypto, or there's definitely a very specific type of crypto project that they're not going to work with. I don't know if it meant no, if you have crypto, you're not in anymore. But either way, you were in before that change, and I remember that was an announcement. They made that change, so in before that, which is cool. By the way, they are pretty damn selective, I think, too. Do you have any insights into that?
I mean, it took me a bit of a reference. Probably, I sent them some emails, tried to like follow up with them for almost 8-7 days. Post that, we got that invite.
Yeah,
So
I like that. Well, what's great about it is like it's hard enough to vet projects. It is, like we, on the Virtuals Genesis platform, I go and I look at everything. And I do similar to what Nick is doing. I go and I click every link and I take it as far as I can get. And man, I'm sorry, when I see the NVIDIA Inception name and the Google startups, it's like it gives it a different kind of credibility that very few have, very few. And so, man, it matters so much when I'm trying to pick and choose what I want to put my points towards and who I want to support and who I want to give my time, like invest my time into. You don't see that every day, man. So like those are huge achievements, and I don't like seeing people dismissing them so easy. They're a really, really big deal.
Exactly.
Are you launching on Arbitrum, by the way? Is that where this ecosystem is going to be living?
So regarding the POEI, the future, all the future developments that will be happening, that will happen on Arbitrum. So that's how we are tying back to Arbitrum.
Interesting. Probably really important too, because as you're doing this, I forget the term, the POE. I'm stuck with acronyms, but did I get it?
No, it's proof of effective intelligence.
Okay, there we go. But yeah, if these agents are going to have so many transactions on chain, gas being cheap probably matters a lot, like a lot. So being somewhere like there makes a ton of sense. Will agents in your ecosystem live on other chains too?
Yeah, obviously, like one of the agent that I was talking about, like sniping agents, there are operations that will specific to pump.fun as well, where people can just go, like they can launch and snipe the token at the first block itself. So I mean, we did a POC like long back, but we are like keeping on the developments. Like like in the past 2-3 months, like Solana went down a lot, and I think meme coin action was like quite less over there. But we are starting back on the POC, and then probably be giving that agent to the users in some time.
Dude, I need a snipe agent or bot. I've always wanted to do that. I see how other people do it and they cook, and I have no idea how, but is that something somebody exists in your ecosystem already, or somebody could build?
Which thing?
It is there now, or somebody could build it in your ecosystem?
POC is already built up. We just have to like figure out each and everything, put it in the infra, and then it is good to go.
Got it. Okay, cool. Okay, continuing on. There's not much FUD left, and guys, if you heard out there like that there was a lot of FUD, this is it. This is the FUD, and it's again, I don't think it's very light. It's very straight. They're good questions. They're good things to point out, but there's just, man, I hate that it takes away from a really great launch, and I hope we're just undoing it all right here. This is one I had a question on, because again, I do my research on my own. I do, and I was digging into your YouTube channel, and I love AI so much. Like I love the AI content. I like the videos. I like that freaking like robot video, like with those guys rocking out. I think was cool as hell. I didn't catch though. This was a good catch from these guys. On the YouTube channel, it talks about, maybe it's on the site too, but it talks about an ecosystem where like you as a user are paid for using AI. And that, I don't know if that's like an old iteration of what asynchronous was going to be, and it's just kind of evolved from there, or if that's still what's coming here. Maybe that's where the token comes into play. But yeah, if you could speak on that a little bit.
Yep. So I think this is like even in our current tokenomics also. So there are a 2% allocation that is already there for like initial testers and beta testers that are and the feedback providers that is there. So I mean, in one sense, we are actually paying users just to use the AI and give feedbacks around it, right? So but like, yeah, this is like one of the initial things we did so that we can get more normies into the space itself. One of the thing that we thought about is like how we can get even like regular users who are basically doing day to day web web 2 stuff on the AI side. They can utilize the AI and then they can configure out that okay, there is more into the space, there is a web 3 space that is going on, and they will get delve into like web 3 as well. So that was like a pathway that we decided that okay, we can incentivize some of the users, probably give them like one or two tokens, and then for utilizing the AI, and then post that they can like just move over into web 3 as well.
Got it. Okay. So then let's take that even. Well, you know what? Let me peek in my little notes, my other little bullet points. Just any other little Nick points. Oh, dude, was it plans previously? This is the last one. Earlier on your timeline on the Asynchronous X account, it mentions launching on Solana. Then a pivot over here to virtuals. Right call, by the way. Good decision. Is that how it went, though? Just, Solana made a lot of sense. There's so much action over there. And I think that tweet was back in February before virtuals really exploding. And this Genesis stuff, even, I don't think Genesis was there back in February. So how did that play out? And what helped you make that decision to go from Solana to Base?
So Genesis was working it was not there in the month of Feb, and that time like we were thinking about, so we wanted a launch pad like to even raise initial funds and then probably like getting more holders into the system, and that's where like one of the choices was like we go with pump.fun and then like raise funds over there. But we saw that okay, there is a lot of snipers. There are people who will be like just buying your token at initial point. They might not be understanding the product, and then they will be like selling the product at a later stage. And the biggest challenge that will come is like it will come for community, because probably I might be holding like the 5% token because I was like raising I was like launching the token, right? So I would be having like 5% allocation at the first block itself. But people who will be buying that will be taking the overall dent in their pockets, right? They So that's why we didn't go with like pump.fun. I mean, it was still thought in mind till like April, but then we were like, okay, no, we are not going to do that. We'll go with virtuals, and then we'll go with a fair allocation for the users.
I love that, dude. By the way, how freaking awesome is virtuals? Like, the platform's crazy. I think people are still underestimating like how big of a game changer it is. Especially, dude, we had that Loud token, not virtuals related, but this Loud meme coin launched over the weekend, and everybody's just focused on the InfoFi side of it. And I think that's a nothing burger. As far the InfoFi part doesn't matter. It's the launching at these tiny market caps and giving everybody a way to get into these pre-sales like virtuals is doing. It's brilliant. And I think it's crazy sustainable. But yeah, I guess question, are you in the trenches and are you trading some of these virtual launches too? And just what are you thinking of it all?
No, I think my wallet is open. I ape a small amount of virtuals in every token. I mean, I wanted to ape more, but I only get like that much amount of points to like ape in a very small amount, and that's it. I mean, but yeah, I would say like virtuals is very good, but still like on the point system, there is a lot of resistance on people who wanted to get into virtual ecosystem, because it's like a closed group that is already being played as of now. It's good for the ecosystem that is like doing it, but like any user who wants to like ape in at a very first day or like in the first 1 week, it's very difficult for them to like have the right set of points and then get some good allocations over there. So that's how the thing. But like, yeah, it's good in its way as well. Like, you have to be like eligible to get into that token itself. You have to just keep on like either putting your virtuals, or either you have to like ape in some of the tokens initially, then only you get into that state where you have the right set of points to like ape in a token.
Yep. it's like a slow grind at the start. I've been encouraging people because I've done it long enough now where I think I feel the path that rewards the most, which is spend the points. Get your points. It's a little bit to start, spend them, get in, get active, and it seems to like snowball once you get rolling. But it's such a cool platform. It really, really is. But I know I got you longer than. Well, I've kept you here longer than 30 minutes. If you still have another 10, are you good? Or you let me know when you have.
I mean, we still have like 1 hour to for the.
Oh, right. Okay, right. Hey, you know what? That reminds me. Hang on. Let's pull it up. I want to look at the countdown. That's that's wicked fun. Yeah. Okay. Just over an hour till this opens up. I'm committing points. I am. I've had a dry spell the past few days. Haven't put points to anything. I'm definitely doing this. Definitely.
I think you gave a good amount of points. I think I mean, last week when I saw like you were close to like 19,000 or 12,000 somewhere there. It's like close to 53.
I mean, I'm hoping. Look, I want this to be as successful as possible. I'm gonna look if people if this show doesn't get out there enough where it's able to change people's minds. Better for me that I can get that bigger allocation, get those tokens, and I'm gonna stake them and grind some points. Like I bet on teams, and that's exactly what we have here. Pablo, I think, put out a good point, and we should do this here, by the way. We got a good 24 hours to do it, but good to reinforce trust after Nick's posts. If there's any other evidence out there, he suggests maybe putting together a tweet that shows the Inception program, Arbitrum grant. Like you sent me some screenshots, right? Like those probably are great to put in a tweet, and they might move the needle. And by the way, if I've mentioned Nick a few times, none of it's like knocking him. I think it's awesome that he's digging into projects. I really, really do. I just think that this counterpoint needed to happen too. And he was probably down to do it. It just was his thing was 6 hours ago. So this is the first opportunity to respond. But I think Nick does like really, really great work. What can you expect for June 5th for Asynchronus? Oh, is that a milestone date?
Yeah. So on June 5th, we'll be having like Shell live for users. So users can utilize like Shell to do like all the operations and like even have like talks with all these agents that are available over there.
Interesting. Okay. I will see if I can wrap my head around what that does yet. Do you mind? And you probably already said it, but quick TLDR on that.
I would say, okay, if you click on like the above navbar async now, it will go to like Shell. No, actually, the at the right corner, the async now at the right corner navbar. You click over there, we'll go to Shell. There's not opening.
Yeah, it brings me to access code.
Yeah. So this is like access code as of now. I think Victor is doing some of the changes at the last moment. So
okay.
I don't want to showcase something like which is not ready.
Oh, that's all good. That's all good. We'll come back to that. I mean, again, we got a couple days. This is something I'll tweet about as info keeps coming out. I want to keep highlighting it. Again, I'm putting points in, so I'll be covering this. So we can circle back to that. Okay, hang on. Let me see. I have more questions. Oh, tokenomics. Let's talk token and how you're thinking about it as far as lockup periods and ultimately what the token's going to do, and then how are you going to go about fostering that community, which it's important. It is. It's like I used to make fun of community, like it's like this cringy thing we used to scream out all last crypto and NFT cycle, but it really fucking matters. The community really, really matters. It's like it is the lifeblood of these projects, and without them, some of these things to a degree don't work. So yeah, okay, start with token. Plans for token and lockup.
Yep. So our things are always aligned with the community itself. I mean, you have seen like there was a reschedule that we have to do at last minute, and we have just released it to the community that okay, you have to do. It's your choice. Whatever you says, we will go and incline with that itself. And I think all the tokenomics and incentives are even aligned with the community itself. That how they will be working deep enough to like even developing the product with us, because if you see like there is a pre-TG campaign, so you community will be getting like all the allocations from there. Then we have like we have like community staking reward. So these are like, so this again comes up with the utility. And then we have like 2% of early testers and feedback reward. So anybody who will be joining us, who will be joining our platform, and then will be providing all the feedbacks to us, they will be getting this 2% allocation. It is like divided into like in the next 12 months. but like people will be getting a steep amount of allocations in every month itself. And again, like there are other incentives as well, like a yapping incentive that is there for the community. So like community, whoever will yap for us, will be giving like those kind of allocations, and it's all like designed for the next 2 years. So like all everything will be like releasing constantly in the next 1 and 2 years.
Wow. Dude, long vision, which is awesome. Lockup, it looks like 30-day lockup. I think that's right.
Yep, yep. So some of the team unlocks is happening like at a very initial stage, but we have like some plans to like doing relock-in, but at the same time, we will be probably adding some people into the team. So might be like doing some allocations to them as well.
Sure.
I mean,
Okay.
that's a fair call, because like I mean, stating that I will be locking my tokens for the 90 days, it means that I might be getting those kind of funds from somewhere else as well. I mean, I don't know how people are doing that. Probably I'm running the project bootstrapped, so I don't have all those kind of like things that I can do without like even giving like incentives to my team itself. But I mean, if it's good for other people, that's good. Probably we'll lock most of the portions of this, but we'll be utilizing some of the portions for the team itself.
I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, with the 1 or 2 year kind of game plan, vision, what does asynchronous look like in a year, and then what does it look like a year after that? Like what? Yeah, how do you see this playing out?
I mean, a year after that, the major thing that we wanted to touch base on is like adding more and more agents into the shell interface, which will create a utility and flywheel for the users itself. A specific use cases which user wants, like sniping agent is one of the best use case that probably anyone would require who is like doing virtuals on pump.fun. Then similar to that, we will be like adding more specific use cases of these kind. Plus, addition to that, like then we will be like focusing a little bit on developing the POEI, because that is something which is like our long term vision, and that is how we wanted to like sustain into the ecosystem. And that's where like graph will also come into picture, and that will tie back to it, because like then most of the developers who are basically building agents on top of graph can utilize POEI for their incentivization and economic values.
So then if I'm holding the async token, is that going to get me access? Is there like maybe it's staking, maybe it's just holding a certain balance? Is that going to get me access to maybe a terminal, or get access to just use the agents in the ecosystem, or do I have to like spend them each time I use them?
No. So yeah. So this comes to like the utility of the token at this current state. It's like it's divided into two ways how we want like users to like as of now utilize Shell. Is one, the early accesses will be open to like stakers who will be like staking their tokens on Virtual's platform, and the other secondary medium is like we want people to like lock in for a good amount of time. So there is also like a farm that will be opening. So if users provide liquidity on top of it, they will be farming more asynchronous token, plus they will be getting credits to like utilize Shell as well. So that's how the two ways it is going. But like in a longer term, async tokens major utility is on the POEI side, and that's for the developers and for the users as well who will be utilizing it.
Dude, really, really cool. Okay, so then Shell in a few days. Do I have that right? Shell is that's what's coming on the 5th?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I look forward to that opening up and poking around. And when it's there, I'll share some screenshots. We'll do some writing about it too. I think this is all super, super cool. Guys, if you have any final questions, fire them off in the chat. I'm definitely watching. And then Zash, any other points that I might have missed that you want to just make sure people know heading into this, man? Please hit us with it.
Bro, just want to say that I mean, I've been working in on the infrastructure side and vision-based algorithm sides on Amazon. I was not a delivery guy, probably not a guy who was like playing Minecraft and like creating FUD about projects. So I think if somebody wants to like have a conversation, I'm very open. My TG channel is already there. You can reach out to me, have like conversation, whatever things you require. I'm willing to give that to you, because everything is already open into the community. If you even dig deep on that side, like if you go into our Twitter, you can look into all those things as well. I mean, even like somebody wants to like look into, I mean, go and see it correctly, do your research correctly, and everything is already available. You will get to understand all those things.
Yep. Yeah, that's cool. I'm telling you guys, again, just this morning with the last night developments, Dash was here ready to like just address anything and everything. He's like, he wanted that opportunity to, to just, kind of deal with that FUD. And he did, and he's going to continue to. And in fact, I think you're on the Vader Spaces tomorrow morning. So another opportunity to talk to a really big audience, a good audience of the guys in the trenches work, and that they're the guys who really need to hear it, as are the people watching now. But dude, it's super cool. And I hope then you and Nick get to connect too, and maybe do a follow up, in his Discord, and, to get their community hearing the same stuff. I think this looks, comparing it to all these other drops, look, you get some on virtuals that are just outright rugs, and you just know. And you get some that are just fun little meme coins, and that's also fun. I like that stuff. And then you get people building like good utility agents, DeFi stuff, whatever. And then you get something that feels like it's bigger than a lot of the other stuff we've seen out there. And I still feel like that's exactly what this one is. And so, guys, honestly, I am doing points towards Asynchronus. Still figuring out my game plan, how many, but this is what I'm doing. I like it. I think you're a legit builder, and the partnerships mean a lot. To me, those are the final stamp of approval. Those guys not working with just anybody. So the backing in whatever form from them takes it up a level. I'm in, man. So good stuff. And dude, I appreciate you coming on and addressing all this, answering this stuff. So thank you.
Thanks for having me and giving us like this platform to like talk about all the things. I mean, we have been waiting for all these things. I mean, I think we are more inclined on developing. We should be talking more about all these things and going on more AMAs to give like users better visibility around what we are building.
Yep. I like it. Open door, come back anytime with project updates as well. Guys, follow Asynchronus_AI on X. That commit period opens in like literally an hour from now. You have 24 hours to commit your points too. So you probably have time to wait, even if you want more points to go towards it, right? Like you'll probably hit virtual points tomorrow before this closes. So just a heads up about that. You probably get a little more in if you want. Let me think what else. Let me get your socials on the screen again too. Here's Ask Zash. Give him a follow again, and you'll see him all over the timeline. I have a feeling over the next couple of days, so give him a follow. And then of course, guys, you can follow us at SlamAI_XYZ. You can follow our agent. It's the Swarm_AI. It's where I'm streaming right now. And I don't know if I said live, guys. If I didn't, maybe I did, and I'll say it again. But happy Swarm all-time high day. It's a cool milestone to hit for us and you guys in the community here. So GGs to you guys. And then finally, hang on, let me pull it back up. I got to show my stuff at the end, CryptoSlam over on YouTube. Again, subscribe over here or catch the shows. Guys, I might go live later in the day to do our kind of market recap and, talk about big stories and whatnot. May do that still, but this is a special show, dude. Again, appreciate you coming on. So thank you very much.
Thanks for having us, man.
Awesome. Guys, we'll see you later on. Thanks for hanging. Goodbye. Peace.